Snow loomed on the horizon as Clara Hensley clutched the reins with chapped hands, fighting back tears in front of her children. Her mare, limping from a lost shoe, trudged along the frozen creek bed. A borrowed wagon rolled beside her, driven by a young ranch hand too shy to offer words of comfort to a widow whose husband had passed just a week earlier. Beneath a threadbare quilt in the wagon bed, her two children, Emma, 8, and Jonah, barely 6, clung to each other for warmth. Their faces were ghostly pale, not just from the cold, but from the life they'd left behind in Nebraska, their father's grave, the bank's foreclosure, and neighbors who looked away. "Ma," Jonah whispered, his voice frail, "can we rest soon?" Clara turned, mustering a faint smile. "Soon, sweetheart." I promised they were headed toward her last hope, a distant acquaintance of her cousin's, a rancher named Elias Ward, who ran cattle near the Laramie Range. Her letter to him had gone unanswered, but with nowhere else to turn, she pressed on. The last of her coins had secured the wagon and a small sack of cornmeal. If Elias turned them away, she'd make do in a barn, praying for a dry corner. As they crested a hill, the sun sank low, revealing a sprawling ranch below, fenced pastures, sturdy barns, and a low cabin with smoke drifting from its chimney. Cattle grazed across the slopes, and a lone rider circled the perimeter. Clara's breath hitched. She halted the mare and glanced down at her tattered skirt, cracked hands, and tangled hair beneath a worn bonnet. She was a widow with nothing but her children and a weary horse. The ranch hand cleared his throat. "That's likely him. Should I ride ahead?" Clara shook her head. "Number, this is mine to do." The rider approached, his sturdy horse moving with ease. He had a strong jaw, dark eyes like a gathering storm, and a presence that spoke of years in the saddle. "Mr. Ward?" Clara called, lifting her chin. He nodded. "That's me. I'm Clara Hensley, cousin to Ellen Marsh. You exchanged letters with her years ago. I wrote to you a few weeks back." Her voice wavered. "I don't know if it reached you." He glanced at the wagon, the children, the limping mare. "It didn't," he said, "but you came anyway." Clara nodded, throat tight. He dismounted smoothly. "Come inside. Your children are half frozen." "We'll stay in the barn," she said quickly. "We won't be a burden. Just a few days until I find a way forward." Elias studied her, then the children, his gaze steady. "No," he said, voice calm but firm. "You'll sleep inside, under a roof in a proper bed. No woman and her children sleep in my barn." Clara hesitated. "I don't want charity." He stepped closer. "It's not charity, it's decency. Be mad about it by a fire if you must." Emma tugged at her sleeve. "Mama, please, it's so cold." Clara sighed and nodded. Elias lifted Jonah from the wagon, guiding Emma by the hand. Clara followed, her heart racing. Inside, the cabin smelled of wood smoke and fresh bread. A fire glowed in the hearth. Elias pulled blankets from a chest. "There's one bedroom. The children can have the bed. You take the cot. I'll sleep out here." Clara started to protest, but his look silenced her. "You're not sleeping in the barn, Clara." Her name sounded solid in his voice. She looked away, swallowing hard. That night, after the children slept under heavy quilts, Clara stood by the fire, hands washed, hair smoothed, wearing a borrowed nightgown. Elias spoke from behind her. "You don't owe me anything." She turned. "I don't understand." "You look like you're waiting to earn your keep. You don't have to." Clara hugged herself. "I've lost everything. The farm, my husband. He was a good man, but the bank took it all when he died. I had nowhere else to go." "You have here," Elias said plainly. His eyes were warm, steady. "Why?" she whispered. He stepped closer. "Because I've seen hardship break strong women. I won't let it break you." Tears threatened, but she turned away. "Thank you," she murmured. His hand brushed her shoulder gently. "You're safe here." She nodded, unable to speak. That night, as snow fell and the wind howled, Clara lay on the cot, listening to her children's soft breathing and Elias's quiet steps as he tended the fire. For the first time in years, she felt a flicker of hope and something deeper, something that frightened her more than the cold. Morning brought a quiet snowfall. Elias left a note. Tending the herd. Coffee's on. Let the children sleep. Clara poured a cup, her hands steadier. Snow blanketed the yard, softening the world. Emma woke first, clutching a blanket, and padded to the fire. Jonah followed, cheeks flushed from sleep. Clara gave them cornbread from the night before. When Elias returned, snow dusting his coat, the children were tracing shapes in the hearth's ashes. He shook off his boots. Barn's holding. Horses are set. Clara glanced at the fire. Can I help with anything? I can cook, sew. There'll be time for that, he said. Not today. Then what? She asked. Rest. Let yourself breathe. She didn't know how to respond. He moved to the stove, giving her space. Later he offered, If you want to see the land, I'll show you. I'd like that, she said softly. They walked the pasture's edge, snow crunching underfoot. His coat, too big for her, smelled of pine and leather. He pointed out the fence lines, the cattle's winter bedding, the hill that caught the first light. I came here after the war, he said after a pause. Thought I'd stay a season. That was 10 years ago. Why stay? The land only asked for work. I could live without owing anyone. Clara understood that ache for freedom. He faced her. Stay through winter. After that, we'll see what you want. You don't know me, she said. I know enough. They walked back, close but not touching, his presence a quiet warmth. That evening, Emma whispered, I like it here, Mama. Clara kissed her forehead. I know, sweet girl. Elias sat by the fire, mending a bridle. I'll take the cot, Clara offered. It's yours, he said, eyes on his work. You don't ask much, she noted. You've been asked enough. Her throat tightened. What did you lose? She asked after a pause. He tested the leather. A brother, the man I was. The fire crackled and moonlight silvered the fields outside. They didn't need more words. By the third week, the snow had crusted over. Elias taught Jonah to spot rabbit tracks, while Emma scratched letters on a slate he'd found in the barn. Clara mended his old jacket, her stitches neat. You've got a good hand, he said, oiling a harness. There's a schoolhouse in town. No teacher since spring. You could do it. I'm not certified, she said. Last one wasn't either. Preacher's widow who could read and keep order. Clara set the jacket down. I taught a little before I married, never finished training. You're wiser now, he said. Scared. Terrified. Good. Means you'll do it right. She didn't laugh, but her shoulders eased. Later, she poured coffee. Did you ever want a family? Once, he said, eyes on the fire. A girl in Kentucky. We planned to come west. Then the war came and she married someone else. I came back hard to know. Took years to soften. Clara nodded. Grief makes you sharp-edged, not cruel, just raw. He met her eyes. You're not as raw as you think. I can't promise much, she said softly. But I'm done running. You don't have to run. His face was steady, weathered, kind. You've been good to us, she said. I didn't do it for praise. I know. He carried Emma to bed, tucking her beside Jonah. You don't sleep much, Clara said. Enough, he replied. You don't have to carry the quiet alone. He looked at her. You offering to share it? I think I am. He took her hand, his grip warm and sure. They stood by the fire, shadows soft. Take the bed tonight, he said. She didn't argue. Spring's first thaw came gently, water dripping from the eaves. The creek ran free, and Clara's hands no longer bled from kneading dough. Jonah chased shadows in the yard, and Emma braided grass by the porch. One morning, Elias came in with mud on his boots and a cut on his hand. Fence is down on the west slope. I'll fix it before calving. I'll come, Clara said. He glanced at the children who were reading. Emma spoke up. I can watch Jonah. Mama taught me to mind the stove. Clara smiled. Stay inside. Hang a blanket if you need us. Elias handed her gloves. Wind's sharp out there. They rode to the ridge where snow gave way to earth. They worked in silence, hammering posts and setting rails. Ever think of going back east? She asked. He shook his head. Too many memories. Out here, the past stays quiet. I'm tired of ghosts, she said, handing him a rail. They finished as sunlight broke through, warming the air. Clara leaned against a post. I used to think peace was a quiet church. Now I think it's this. Elias nodded. You don't miss the noise. I miss knowing the day of the week, she said. Not much else. His voice softened. You fit here, like you were always meant to. I sleep better now, she admitted. You've made this place feel full, he said. They stood in the quiet, the unsaid settling gently between them. That night, under a starlit sky, Clara followed Elias outside. I want to stay, she said. Past spring, through summer, maybe always. You already are, he said. I'll teach, she added. If the town will have me. I'll raise the children here. I'll stay. He turned to her. You have a place here, not out of duty, but because I want you to. She took his hand, her fingers steady against his scarred palm. I don't need big promises, just someone who stays. I've stayed through worse, he said. I'll stay for you. She rested her head on his shoulder, the silence full of home. By April, the land softened. Cattle calved in the lower fields, and Clara showed Emma how to spot early chokeberries. Jonah poked at the creek with a stick, chasing spring. A rider brought a letter from the Laramie School Board. Clara read it on the porch while the children shelled peas. Elias watched her, rope coiled in his hand. They'll take me, she said. Teaching starts in May, 3 days a week. That's soon, he said. I'll need to meet the board in town. I'll ride with you, he said. Trail's muddy in spots. I can manage. I know, but I'm coming. They rode into town, the trail lined with new green. Elias brushed a twig from her sleeve. You're ready, he said. I know, she replied. The trustees, 4 townsfolk in the mercantile, asked about her skills and how she'd handle a quiet child or a rough one. Clara answered firmly, her nerves steady. Outside, Elias nodded. They'll take you. You don't know that. I saw how you spoke. You didn't beg. You told them what you'll do. Her eyes softened. The weeks grew into a rhythm. Clara rode to town to collect school supplies, taught Emma to read by lamplight, and watched Jonah trail Elias to the barn. One morning by the fence, she paused. I've been thinking about what's next. I want to stay, all of us. Elias turned, his face calm. I've wanted that since you arrived. Then let's make it real, she said. I want to marry you, Elias Ward, if you'll have me. His hand tightened around hers. I'll have you always. They weed under the cottonwoods, the creek glinting nearby. Emma carried wildflowers. Jonah wore Elias's old shirt tied with rope. The preacher spoke simply, and Clara wore a soft gray dress. Elias shaved for the occasion. They shared bread and coffee on the porch, the children laughing with a stray dog that stayed. You were right, Clara said, leaning against him. Peace isn't a church morning, it's this. He kissed her hair. Feels like it too. Summer bloomed. Clara taught 3 days a week, riding home to supper. Elias built a calving shed, and Jonah woke early for chores. Emma rode the mare with confidence. Evenings they sat on the porch, sharing coffee and stories, the children asleep at their feet.